was that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
BARFF!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. BARFF!
BARFF? What are you?
And here we go, BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 3, Episode 6, talking about Week 5. I'm here in the studio, joined live after the vacation hiatus by the co-host of the show, owner of Born to Run, Walt's here. Walt, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great, and it's great to be back in the studio,
talking
BARFF football.
So, talking depressing BARFF Fantasy Football. Also joining us once again tonight, the owner of Worst Team Ever, Ty was here. Ty, how are you?
Always good to be here.
All right, let's talk about this situation.
Rock and roll.
This Week 5, which we talked about last week that we were going to start to see some separation, and that certainly happened this week with these games that started to show us who our elite teams were and who the teams were whose cries echo from the darkness of the basement. Walt, where do you want to go first?
Hey, my beverage isn't cracked, so there's only one way to get it open, is talk about my win.
All right, let's go to Born to Run, taking on strong team, no lineup needed. Pulled in at 3-1. Born to Run was at 2-2. Hard fought game.
For sure.
Yeah, I think I will call this our shootout of the week, and who comes out on top?
Hey,
Born to Run.
This can's for you, Christian. So, it was like you said, it was a pretty. Well, it wasn't close really, because going in, I felt by that time, he would have needed a miracle from Mahomes, but there was one point it was pretty much back and forth. What the dagger was, though, when Teddy Bridgewater gets knocked out on one play, and then that kind of hurt Tyreek Hill. I don't know what the hell was going on with Trevor Lawrence. He looked horrible. So Christian Kirk did nothing. The real surprise, though, without question, was Hawkinson.
Yeah,
1 point there.
1 point.
I just never in a million years. If you remember when I was talking a week before about these matchups, I was looking at Christian ahead of, and man, it looked like he had great matchups. So for Hawkinson to only get one, that killed him. Yeah. And I had consistent scoring up and down my team, except for I got a problem at quarterback, but that's a topic for another conversation.
Yeah, we talked about your quarterback situation last week, and we were wondering if Trevor Lawrence was going to make an appearance, and he does, and he's doing well this season up until this game against Houston of all teams.
Exactly. So he decided not to make an appearance when I put him in my lineup, which so I don't know what I'm doing there. Something's got to happen.
Can we talk for a minute about the Ramondre Stevenson train?
I love Ramondre Stevenson.
Right, Ramondre Stevenson has taken the zero RB strategy into, you can't even claim that anymore. He's a top 20 back, and I'm sure that he's going to climb up those standings over the next few weeks. This is just unbelievable on a team where, you got betrayed once again by J.K. Dobbins.
And so Stevenson looks solid. I think, I feel bad. Rashad Penny, he went out and he's out for the year, so that hurt because he was actually doing quite well the last couple of weeks. Yeah, he was. But for once in my life, I actually drafted a handcuff, so I actually got Walker, which is going to be nice to plug him in. I actually feel good about my running backs.
Yeah, with Kenneth Walker, you should. Now you've got two clear ones. Ramondre Stevenson has in that what is usually a New England Patriots quagmire of I used the word quagmire. I think that's the first time this year of running backs. He's established himself as the guy.
Yep.
And Christian's weighing in. He's got his game being discussed, and he's his team abandoned me at most positions. And the Jags game was confusing. I agree. So on the other side of the ball, Ty, let's talk about a player who everyone sang the praises of last year, and then came in this year and broke my heart because I thought he was going to be on the bench for half the year. James Robinson is now in a timeshare. How does that happen?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I think that's kind of biting Christian now a little bit. I think he was probably counting on him being that solid number 2 at worst case flex guy, but now it's a toss up whether he's going to be the guy that game or not.
Yeah, that's crazy. And again, a great matchup. You would have thought. against Houston.
That is the matchup that you think that your number one running back
Yep.
is going to get you 20 points, and he goes for 5 points. It's pretty sad. Christian does not have bad performances outside of that. Eckler blew up. The Chargers just ran during that game. But down the bottom of his lineup, he goes single digits, and it costs him in this one. 123 is a good score, but 142 is better.
Yep, it's just not good enough.
So. Where do you want to go next?
Well, let's go. There's the pant loads. Let's get that out of the way. Looks like another again. None of these scores are low.
No,
these are good scores.
This was a good week, for most teams. Sody Pantloads puts up the same score as Born to Run this week and taking out Whopper Moppers 142 to 120. No shame in either of these teams. It's just Sody Pantloads had a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I totally agree. I mean, and Harris went out early too, so
right.
He still won with only 2 points from Damian Harris, which is pretty impressive.
Yep.
But solid from Murray. Dalvin Cook's a stud. Guy's got a bad shoulder, still performs.
Yeah, he's always just going to do it.
That guy, it's amazing. And, Diggs is Diggs. And, but the biggie, of course, was 4 1-yard touchdowns. I think his yards was, 25 yards?
25 yards, yes.
Yeah.
7 receptions for 25 yards.
And 4
touchdowns.
So, hey, that's Kelsey. So, and, going on the other side, the Whopper Moppers, they had a good, unfortunately, Connor went out with an injury. That hurt him. And, and the weird one was A.J. Brown. We were watching the game. First drive, it was all A.J. Brown. And then it was nothing after that whatsoever. So, it's just one of those weeks.
Just like No Lineup Needed had a chance to create that separation, and you rein them in. Sody Pantloads does the same thing to Whopper Moppers. Whopper Moppers comes in at 3-1 against 2-2 Sody Pantloads. Sody Pantloads puts up the 142 and evens things up at 3-2 overall in the standings.
Yeah, he's right where he wants to be.
That's pretty impressive. So those are 242-point games. Where do you want to go now?
Can we get mine out of the way, please?
Okay,
why not? Can we just?
Well, we talked about most teams had a really good week, respectable weeks point-wise, but we did have a couple teams go under that 100-point mark that you never want to be in, and the Springfield Rifle took advantage. Not quite 142. They go 141 to 95 over worst team ever. Ty, what happened?
Well, it's not great when it's about 103 and Josh Allen throws a 75-yard touchdown pass. Yeah, that wasn't great.
That's a good.
And then 325 yards in the first half. So right there, it kind of put me out of my misery early, which was kind of nice in a sense. But it just was not. And then Barkley leaving the game too. I was around that. I was ready to punch a hole in the wall. Losing. I mean, the injuries this week for me were ridiculous. What I had to choose from the lineup. Well, even at my bench too, with Michael Thomas out, then my quote-unquote handcuff for my number 1 overall pick, who I lost once again. He gets out with a concussion in the first quarter. So, it was not a great week injury-wise, so I just got to hope that that's now behind me so I can look forward.
Yeah, that's a dearth of bench points. There is no relief for worst team ever this week. The 100-point mark was not going to be met. Walt, on the other side of the ball, the Springfield Rifle gets their first 2 players down the lineup. You're at 69 points. You're not looking back. They could take that 0 from Darren Waller and still look dominant. Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, when did he learn to play football?
Geno Smith has become a quarterback in the NFL. What has it been, 10 years?
He's better than Russell Wilson for about 1/20th of the price. It's unbelievable.
It's pretty crazy.
And so that was the big surprise, is like pulling Lockett out of thin air and starting him, and he rewarded him with the confidence. 28 points.
I think those
amazing.
3 guys would have beat me if my math is correct for my entire lineup. So okay, we can move on to the next game now.
All right,
let's go.
No sense of lamenting on that game.
All right, so worst team ever got the pain out of the way. Walt, do you want to talk about Huey Lewis in the News picking up their second win?
Because I think we got some things to talk about here with Team Soaring Eagles.
The Denver Soaring Eagles, they pull into this game at 1-3, really needing a win, and they go away at 1-4, third loss in a row. Huey Lewis is looking a little resurgent. Whichever side of the ball you want to start on.
Let's start with Huey Lewis in the News. I think he probably liked what he saw this week. Tom Brady started to look a little like Tom Brady.
Yes.
The Camara looked like Camara. So those are all good things. Mike Williams back too. Nice week out of Mike Williams. So I think Huey Lewis in the News was probably pretty happy overall of the week they had. And that's with, Gabe Davis on the bench and Breece Hall. Breece Hall looks like the guy they drafted and said was going to be, impact player. So I'm thinking after last week, Huey Lewis in the News is feeling a lot better about their team right now.
A lot of depth on this team. Yep. Let's go to the chat. Our mysterious Sox fan 7687 weighed in on the last game. I apologize for missing that. He came right in at the right time to hear insight on his favorite team or on their favorite team. So Sox fan 7687 is clearly happy with the Sodies win this week, and Ant did not like Worst Team Ever's take on their game. What's new?
Crying.
WT crying about something. And so the chat is active tonight. But let's keep on this game. Huey Lewis in the News. This team just looks dominant top to bottom. Like they can have an off week from Edwards-Helaire and still put up 130 points. They look terrible down the bottom of the lineup, and it just doesn't matter. And this is a couple of solid performances from this team, and they're reaping the benefits of Tom Brady right now.
Yeah,
sure.
and it's a good lesson of why not to panic early on in the year, because you start seeing guys you drafted start panning out like Breece Hall.
Absolutely. On the other side of the ball, the Denver Soaring Eagles, despite finding what may be the waiver wire gem of the year so far, let's say the first half, in Dameon Pierce, because who saw Dameon Pierce coming? He's the 10th ranked running back in fantasy, and he plays for the Houston Texans. I didn't think anyone was running the ball for the Houston. I thought Rex Burkhead was the number one guy in Houston.
Yep.
And so he's getting good production there. Unfortunately, Amari Cooper and Terry McLaurin are up and down. But the story of this team to me, Walton, you tell me if you agree or disagree, Justin Herbert. Did you see Justin Herbert coming in? He's ranked 6th, but let's look at his performances. He starts off good with 25-27, 14, comes back 26-16. This offense looks bad or looks uneven, and you don't expect mid-teens from Justin Herbert.
I agree, and I still think, based on what I heard early on about that injury, how it doesn't really heal or whatever, and I got it deep down. I think that's got to probably still be bothering him and making him not as effective, as he's been. So, I think, and I think those Soaring Eagles, it's the receivers are compared to other teams. He's a notch below, I think, when it comes to receivers.
He's not getting any help from Joe Mixon, who was touted as a top 5
I think his
back.
entire team's a notch below the rest of the league. And I believe he was shitting on my team extensively coming out of that draft, too. Granted, I'm only 2-3, but, he's in a world of hurt over here with this lineup. DeAndre Swift, great pick, man. Great pick.
Well,
he plays all the time, plays hurt.
So there's my segue, right? Would this be like the 3rd year in a row of potentially losing season, non-playoff making for Soaring Eagles? I could probably go to the archives and look.
Yeah, probably. I feel as though we've been languishing down the bottom together for a while. Yeah.
So, I think I'll I guess defend you. Luck seems to be always against you. But of course, in the Soaring Eagles, maybe it's time for the GM to go. Maybe they got to look elsewhere. They got to bring a third party to run the team. You could, you still have, of course, team owner, but maybe, he's like Jerry Jones. He can't evaluate talent.
Soaring Eagles are a former champ, but they have fallen on hard times.
They certainly have.
Let's see. Sox fan 7687 is weighing in. I don't want to leave the chat hanging. Well, we're going to get to this topic about your vacation, so we'll come back to Sox fan 7687. Jordan is weighing in as we're talking about his game last week with the Denver Soaring Eagles. If I was one of those top-tier teams, I'd give anything for a shot at DeAndre Swift. So it's good he's marketing his trade, building up that trade market. I'm not going into this last comment looking like an offensive lineman coach. This seems to be a shot. I'm not getting involved in this war. So Denver Soaring Eagles is looking to make a move. They're doing the right thing.
They're trying.
And DeAndre Swift is a great trade piece. He's going to be back in a couple weeks. we're not at the halfway point. Does someone not want DeAndre Swift in their lineup? It's going into the playoffs.
So it's one of those carrots, right? And you know, I like DeAndre Swift, but there's one thing that's haunting him since he's coming to the league. He doesn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
So how much you willing to give up to roll the dice like that? It's a gamble if you decide to do it.
It is a gamble.
So, yeah, that's a tough one. It'll be interesting to see if he finds any takers on DeAndre or not.
Yeah.
But, you know, someone wants to swing for the fences. That's a guy, you take that chance.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I if I had anything to offer him, I'd look into it.
Yeah.
I got a pile of steaming crap on my team. I can tell you, I was offered a trade from someone a couple weeks ago, and they were looking pretty deep for value, and it was a good trade. Mm-hmm. But I'm a little stung by trades, and I wasn't ready at that point.
Right.
And looking back, I mean, it wouldn't have helped. Let's jump into the agony. Let's go to Boston Beans, the highest score of the week, 147 points. What a surprise. What a surprise that the Boston Beans scored their high score of the week, because they were playing the Knuckleheads. Put up 115. I was ahead by 26 points, I think, on Monday night. Went to bed, woke up a big loser. I'm a Tuesday mornings in Knucklehead land. That's what we're used to. Waking up a big loser. 1-4 on the year. The Beans just got it done this week. Hurts, Chubb, Jacobs and Adams, you know, they just needed to get, I think, 27 points to beat me combined. So one of them could have gone 13, the other one 12. Respectable, not great. Could have happened. No, nope. They both blow up and get the points on their own. They get a -5 from their D and still put up 147 points. And once again, the Knuckleheads, I'll cry. Someone can chat about me crying. The most points against in the league.
Oh, yes.
Again. I don't understand.
I mean, I don't know. It's forces out of our control, because you say 1 year in a row. Okay, you know, 2, 3. Yeah. I mean, what is going on here?
Yeah, and so we don't talk about other leagues on the podcast because, but I hate to break the fourth wall right here. I'm gonna say, listen, I'm in another league and I have the most points scored for, and I'm 1-4 because in that league also most points scored against. I don't understand.
I don't know what you did in a prior life to warrant terrible. This, but.
Am I not supportive of fantasy football gods? Can you not just help me out a little bit every once in a while?
Maybe we need some kind of exorcism or something to drive the spirits out.
I will say in support of the Soaring Eagles looking to make a move, and they're throwing out DeAndre Swift. I'll tell you right now, people want to make trade offers to me. Every single player on my roster is in play.
There we go. I love
everyone is in play. Because I'm 1-4 with them. So anyone wants to offer me some good trades, to any of my players are on the market right now.
You might be getting a call.
The whole group.
And by the way, I'm willing to sacrifice Sox fan 7687 human sacrifice if that will reverse the.
Wait, do you know who Sox fan 7687 is?
Mysterious.
Mysterious.
Yes, that would be great.
It's a loyal fan of the show. How could you say something like that?
I know. Maybe I shouldn't. But it's funny because, you know, I don't know if Tony's getting so cocky now. He's spotting teams' points by taking -5 on defense. That
was rough.
No, I got to say, again, I haven't been shy about it. The Beans are a good team. Mm-hmm. There's no question about it. You know, if he can keep his players from shoving innocent bystanders to the ground and maybe getting suspended, it'll be in great shape.
Yeah, that worries me because I think that's probably going to be at least a week of a thing. He's going to get suspended
there's no
for
doubt.
Some period of
They're
time.
going to make an example of that. And Tony's doing this with really not a lot of production out of Waddle yet. You know, Waddle's been dinged up and he hasn't really done much.
Yep.
If he gets healthy, he's got D-Hop coming out.
I mean, Waddle was doing okay until Tua's brain got scrambled.
That brain's not getting unscrambled anytime soon either. So
no, Tua might be a vegetable. I'm not positive. You notice you haven't seen any video of him or anything?
Don't make Tony cry.
They're keeping him under wraps.
He's going to start crying.
But despite those struggles and a potential suspension coming up, Boston Beans sits alone at the top of the BARFF heap right now at 4-1. They are looking good.
There's always one team, right? Every year it seems like one just slightly better that escapes, from the rest of the pack.
Yep.
But what has happened is that team, Tony, I don't want to jinx you, but that team has not come through most of the times.
I agree.
So
that team that crushes their way through the regular season tends to have some trouble.
Well, the downfall is going to start this week coming up because he's got a tough opponent coming his way.
Ooh. We'll talk about next week shortly. So while you guys were away on vacation, you may not know this. Not sure that you watched the pod for last week. And now I'll go into the mysterious Sox fan 7687 weighed in with what's up with worst team ever and Born to Run not tuning in last week. Too busy applying suntan lotion to each other's backs. That's a bit of a dig from our mystery fan. Well, gentleman response.
Easy. That definitely sounds like jealousy to me. That from Sox fan 87, and knowing him,
the big pant loads fan.
Yeah,
big
pant loads fan. No, that's all I could think is they wish they were there. But they weren't, and actually they're probably more jealous about the applying of the lotion, knowing.
Well, you never know what those Chucktown boys do over there. Who knows what they're applying to what?
I know. Exactly.
We do have another Charlestown resident. Ant is weighing. He gives us some insight. Tua was back at practice today, so that's interesting. If they're going to start plugging him in.
Tony, Madden and real life are two different things, right? I'm glad he's back for your franchise team, but that's not real life, man. It's okay. It's all right.
And Jordan is weighing in once again, keeping the marketing going, and I'm loving it. DeAndre Swift would help that team come playoff time.
Nice.
He's not backing down one bit.
I love it.
So last week we had Whopper Mopper sitting in your chair. Waltna, I'll say that they did a terrific job. And we started a new segment last week where we look at everyone's roster and we pick a player. And that player goes into one of three categories. And we call this game Bomb, Screen, or Punt. And so in Bomb, Screen, or Punt, we pick the player from that roster and we ask the opinions of those here. And if anyone were to weigh in on the chat, we'd ask them too. But would you bomb this player? This is someone that is in your lineup and you're riding them out. Would you screen past this player? Like, we'll maybe play him. We'll keep him on the bench. We're going to be conservative with them. Or Punt. Are you getting this bum off the roster?
So
that's Bomb, Screen, and Punt.
It.
All right.
Let's take a look at. Let's start. Well, let's go right to the top of the standings. So I'm going to go to the Boston Beans, and let's take a look at this lineup and see what we're doing with this group. I think we did Tua last week, so we have.
Okay. So
I can't remember who we did last week. Unfortunately, I should have written this down. We may have done Waddle.
What about Najee?
Okay, that's an actually a good one. Najee Harris. Struggling this year, yards per carry off, everything is off. This is a guy that was projected as a top 5 running back, and now he's weighing in at the 29th spot. Najee Harris, bomb, screen, or punt?
I think just because where you picked him, you got to go with the screen on this one. I mean, it's again week 5 going in week 6, too early to just kind of pull the plug on that project, but it is. He's probably on life support, I think, potentially.
Yeah. Ty?
Yeah, I mean, complete agreement. I mean,
Screen?
just where you picked him, I mean, you got to you can't just toss him out, but he's got to stay in consideration week after. There's too much talent to be wasted there. The team around him stinks, but he's too good of a player to just completely forget about him.
Yeah,
I agree. I would say I would say punt him because then he goes to the waiver wire. I'm not really supposed to use this as a solicitation, but I will. All right, so that was the Boston Beans. No lineup needed. Looking at their lineup, let's take. Well, we already talked about him. James Robinson. As Travis Etienne has come on more and more, Travis Etienne will play a game and average 7-8 yards a carry to James Robinson's 3. And the timeshare has started to turn in ETN's favor. Are there better options out there than James Robinson? And so, James Robinson, bomb, screen, or punt?
Wow, that's a good one. Oh, mamma mia. I think with the trend I'm seeing, I hate to say it, I think could be time to punt on James Robinson. I mean, you know, he's a rookie. He's showing the burst. I think it's a punt for me.
All right, Ty.
It's a punt if his other two running backs stay healthy. But if he loses one of them, then he's going to have really no choice but to kind of screen on him or one of his other kind of lesser of his backs there on his lineup.
Yep. I'm going to screen Robinson just to see how health is, but I think Robinson, he could get punted in 4 or 5 weeks, which, you know, great. Everyone loves him. Like he's a hard worker. He came back from that Achilles, but they have that explosive player on the bench, and if they have more weeks like last week, I think you'll see them ride that kid a little bit more.
Yeah, no, and like you said, it's not trending upward; it's trending downward with him. So
right,
yeah.
So let's jump to the Springfield Rifles lineup. The Springfield Rifle currently sitting in third place at 3-2, and they have an interesting player who, and again, I don't remember who we went. I think we went Melvin Gordon last week.
Did you do Aaron Jones?
We did not look at Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones pulling in at 12th ranked running back right now. Walt, let's go with it. Bomb, screen, or punt?
It's a good question with him because, you know, he was a little frustrated on not getting the ball when it was those 2 pass plays got knocked down. I don't know. Aaron Jones is just, they're not running the ball. The offense looks bad. I'm gonna give him a screen. I think you gotta watch him. I don't know. To say he's an automatic plug in now with the lineup, the Rifles lineup, he might be just because the running backs. You know, I don't know if you go, well, he's got Gordon and Hunt. But anyway, I think he's a screen. I think it's something to watch.
All right, Ty, bomb, screen, or punt, Aaron Jones?
Bomb because of the lineup, and again, too much talent be wasted there. I think he'd be silly based on what else he's got in his lineup there to bench him.
Single digits in 3 weeks this year for Aaron Jones.
Exactly.
But he's got the potential. I'm going to screen him
screen too.
In the hope that something gets carved out for him, more of a role. Surprise. For me, for Aaron Jones, this is another.
I know, right? Did you ever think you would talk about Aaron Jones that way?
Right, it's crazy.
It is. Yep.
Let's move on to Sody Pantlo's our 4th place team. We talked about.
Can we talk about the owner? Bomb, screen, or punt?
That's not how this game is played.
I understand. Okay, very good.
We talked about Zeke on bomb, screen, or punt.
Oh,
what about Devontae Smith?
No, I'm gonna go deeper than that. I'm gonna go
I know
Allen Robinson.
There we go.
Walt Allen Robinson at this point in the season, bomb, screen, or punt.
So is there something lower than punt? Is that the last option?
That's the coach leaving a trash bag for the equipment guy at your locker.
Okay.
So I'm going to cause controversy in BARFF.
Oh boy.
I don't know if some people have heard the replacement theory. I swear the Rams are replacing Allen Robinson with another white guy that they found. I call him that Skoranek guy because
Skoranek.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. What is going on there?
Yeah.
I
had never heard of Skoranek.
I am dumbfounded how Allen Robinson is irrelevant in that offense, and and of course I'm being sarcastic, but I don't know if it's because first time playing with him or
I don't know.
But it looks like every ball to him, Stafford, it's not even close. Yeah. It's so I hate to say it, you got to punt Robinson. He's got to go.
I think that we brought up Stafford on bomb, screen, or punt last week, and we were punting Stafford also. Ty, Allen Robinson, bomb, screen, or punt.
As Sox fan 7687 is saying in the chat, we're punting on first down. Allen Robinson. That's the best take he's had all day.
I have to agree. I'm going to go and make it a unanimous. We're punting Allen Robinson. It's time. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I have many players on my team that get punted sooner than later. Let's look at Whopper Mopper's lineup. They're a 3-2 team, a strong squad. I'm going to go...
Who did you pick last week?
Last week we talked about Dalton Schultz.
Okay.
I'm going to go James Conner, bomb, screen, or punt.
It's a screen for me, and I'm basing it on the injuries. I think when he's healthy, he's another guy. Really has a hard time staying healthy.
Single digits, 3 weeks.
Yep, and he's been dinged up.
Hasn't gone higher than 15.
Wow. All right, I'll give him a screen for now.
Screening on James Conner. Ty, James Conner.
I would say punt, but with the injury to Cordell Patterson on his lineup there, it's got to be a screen.
Yeah, he's got to hold on to him right now.
That's a good point.
I would go screen on James Conner, but concern. We'll see where he is in a month.
Yep.
If he can't get back on the field, I don't know what to say.
Remember, he was the hot ticket last year, though, with the free agent pickup. Towards the end of the season, he was on fire.
Yep, he helped some people out last year, but this year seems to be dragging him down. Let's look at Born to Run.
All right, let me pick.
Celebratory team coming in this week. Last week we talked about Matt Stafford. So who else do you want to talk about?
And you guys picked punt, right?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
Oh, good, because I would have picked punt for him too. If I could find anything better, I would get rid of him. But that's the only reason. And of course, what I thought my solution was Teddy Bridgewater with his one play before going out on a concussion.
That's so terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think an interesting one is Michael Gallup.
Yep.
Because I find, so I'll let you guys go first on that one.
Ty, you're familiar with this Dallas team. Michael Gallup, bomb screen or punt?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough going back from his injury. I mean, I'm probably punting at least till Dak comes back. I would just say right now, I mean, he's getting some targets. It's just the volume's not there to consider him in the lineup as it sits right now.
Yeah, I'm good with punting Michael Gallup right now. I didn't like how he looked last week. I watched some of that game, and is he going to make the lineup? I mean, are you going to pull Godwin, Jefferson, or Chase? I get it, bye weeks, maybe injuries, but is there no one better out there right now than Michael Gallup? Well,
yeah, so there's the rub, and that's why it makes it really tough, because I agree with you. When I watched the game, I didn't love what I saw out of Gallup. I wasn't seeing a ton of separation, and he just, I was like, oh boy, I don't like that. But then believe me, I've been scouring waiver wire for the last 3 weeks. I'm telling you, it is slim pickings.
It's a void out there.
It is.
It's like being in the desert.
It is. It is. So I'm going to give it screen just because. Yeah. For lack of a better replacement. And, Gallup, you just say, okay, as he gets healthier and healthier, maybe, some of that'll come back. And like you said, Dak comes, that'll help too. He'll force him the ball here and there. So I'm going to give Gallup a screen, but he's another one on life support. If I can find a better option, I probably will take it.
All right. Ty, we're going to go to worst team ever, 2-3 team, looking to turn some things around. I don't remember, to be totally honest with you, who we bomb screened or punted last week. It might have been Nyheim Hines.
I mean, that was an easy one, right?
So you pick this week. Who do you want to talk about on your roster?
Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson.
Ooh.
All right. Part of a totally train wreck of an offense. Walt, bomb screen or punt Deontay Johnson?
He's a screen, I think. Especially you got a rookie quarterback in there. You wait, let him get comfortable. I'd say, he's a definite screen for me.
Well, I'm going to go screen also. I think that as he develops with Pickett, he's going to end up probably becoming like that safety valve guy.
Yep.
Ty, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think once the injuries kind of clear up in the lineup and I have a little more choices with Michael Thomas coming back, it turns more into that screen. But right now, as he is, I have to bomb with him just because what I'm dealt with.
Yeah,
right. That makes sense.
Sometimes what you have is what you have.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. You can't change the cards you've been dealt.
Absolutely. Let's look at Huey Lewis and the News, a team that struggled in the very beginnings of the season and is now coming on strong. Who did we talk about on this team last week?
Or Gibson. Maybe you talked about Gibson.
No, I think we might have talked about Rashad Bateman last week on bomb screen or punt. So, Walt, you pick. Who do you want?
Gibson. Let's talk Gibson. I think that's a very intriguing guy there.
Yeah, bomb screen or punt on Antonio Gibson, pulling in at ranked 22nd. But if you look at what he's been producing, double or single digits the last 2 weeks with a noticeably reduced role. Walt, are you bomb screening or punting?
No,
Antonio
the end
Gibson?
is over. It's near for him. I'm punting. One, the line isn't great, but when Robinson got in there, he's been a little more productive. I just see Robinson having that job in 3 weeks.
Ty, bomb screen or punt?
Punting, he's going to become irrelevant once Robinson gets fully back up to health.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys. I'm going to punt Antonio Gibson because Jordan brought up this point discussing Antonio Gibson not so long ago, that this is a former wide receiver, and J.D. McKissick gets the passing downs.
Yep.
So I think that tells you a lot about Antonio Gibson. Christian's weighing in with Brian Robinson had not only was he on a pitch count, Brian Robinson coming back from injury, but he ended up with more touches than Antonio Gibson. Wow. So that's a great point, and that reinforces any decisions to be punting Antonio Gibson.
Yep.
So that was Huey Lewis in the news. The Knuckleheads. There are 16 players here.
You can't say your whole team
that you could punt. I'm going to stay.
Who did you pick last week? Was it Akers?
It was DJ Moore.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Yeah. I mean, Akers is just too easy.
All right. Well, let's
look at Dawson Knox.
Ooh,
Dawson Knox, bomb screener, punt. Walt.
Oh, man. He is a tough one.
And an explosive offense, probably the number one offense in the league. Where is he pulling in now in terms of his rank? He's 23rd.
Yeah.
23rd ranked tight end. He's a receiving tight end. No one is playing Dawson Knox for his blocking ability. He's 23rd in tight ends.
Boy, let's see. You've been playing Gerald Everett.
Yeah.
Boy. Well, there's one, I guess, reason to screen him, even though what you're seeing out of the Bills is the tight end is not really part of that offense anymore. Josh Allen runs. Josh Allen looks down the field deep. Josh Allen looks for Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
He's not looking for Knox.
Right.
And so I'll say a screen only because of your tight end situation. And again, when you go into the desert looking for the tight ends, it's a scrappy. There's bones out there.
Yeah.
There's nothing. So I'd say screen for
Dawson Knox. Ty, Dawson Knox, bomb screen or punt?
It's tough. I almost want to say punt the entire tight end position because unless you have Kelsey, Mark Andrews, or T.J. Hockenson on certain weeks of the year, it's a crapshoot. So it's screen just because how crappy that position is to select from.
I'm gonna go punt because he's on the Knuckleheads and I hate them. Let's
moving on.
Let's take a look at the Denver Soaring Eagles lineup. Boy, Walt, who do you want to pick from this group?
Oh boy, let's have some fun here. Let's put someone on notice. Brandon Ayuk.
Potential, but yet not living up to it in an offense that has some room to feed him. Walt, what are you going to do with Brandon Ayuk? Bomb screen or punt?
So he's another guy. Debo's Garoppolo's guy. It's a great sweatshirt on. Come in.
It is. Yeah.
I love it. Ayuk, he's one of these guys. The potential. He never realizes it. I'm punting on Ayuk.
Punting Ayuk. Ty, Brandon Ayuk, bomb screen or punt?
Punt. He doesn't really do anything out there. He just kind of hides behind Debo. So there's no use for him.
Yeah, but Debo, the way that he plays like a train wreck, is susceptible to injury as we've seen in the past. So I'm going to screen Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
I'm always going to go back to what I still consider the greatest move in BARFF managerial history was when Connor picked him up away from Christian, plugged him in the lineup, and he was a dagger in Christian's heart that week. So that was
I love
good.
that. Yeah.
So that wraps up bomb screener punt for another week. Pretty fun. I like that bomb screener punt.
I agree.
I think we'll keep that hanging around for a little while. So let's look at next week. We're moving into week 6 of the NFL season, and we really didn't see. We were talking last week about the opportunities for teams to separate, and we really didn't see it, with one exception, which was the Boston Beans. So unfortunately, we have this little bit of a logjam at 3-2, but those teams really, I think, with one exception, and let's look at the schedule. I don't think those teams are playing each other this week.
Well, I think this week you're going to call the contentious week 6 is how we'll dub it. We got some super rivalry games here. Worst team ever and
the Beans.
Born to Run.
Sody Pantloads.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So. That's going to make for a good week 7, I hope.
Yeah. Let's take
Where
a
you
look
wanna
at
go?
Walt. Let's go right into the Civil War. Let's go Born to Run and Sody Pantloads. Sody Pantloads is going to be backed, of course, by Sox fan 7687. But right now, again, it's early. Sodi is prodigied to go 130 over 119. How do you see this game going this week?
Well, first of all, I might say this could be the greatest rivalry in BARFF. It's the Pantaloons against Born to Run. We got a real. This is going to be a real close game.
Doesn't he own you every time he plays you?
No,
How
no.
is this a good rivalry?
No.
It's just relentless. I don't love it, but that's just the way it is.
Who knocked him out of the playoffs last year?
Yeah.
Born to Run,
As your
baby.
first win against him?
No, even during the regular season. No, it's this. I'm telling you, this is rivalry game. So,
Sox fan 7687 weighs in with Born to Run, wishes this is the best rivalry. And Christian is clearly having some fantasy PTSD from some of our comments. So, yes.
I think Sox fan they should go look on the league and see who the league champion is before making any more comment. So I think this is going to be a really close game. I look, the one that I don't love, Dalvin Cook against Miami. All of a sudden, Miami's defense, I don't know what the hell is going on there. But if he's keeping Devontae Smith in against Dallas, I love that.
He's keeping Zeke in the lineup.
And he's keeping Zeke in the lineup.
Well, it's early, but is he going to put Chase Edmonds in?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know.
Kelsey, though, against Buffalo, I don't mind that matchup. Buffalo, number 2 defense in the NFL right now.
No, they're looking good both sides of the ball.
I kind of like those. I like, on my side, I go Andrews against the Giants. Love that. Godwin, please play against Pittsburgh's porous secondary.
That could be your best matchup.
Absolutely,
of the week, for sure.
No question. And I got Ramonde, even though it's got Dobbins in here against the Giants, he's not starting because he's too touchdown dependent for me. So it's going to be Kenneth Walker is going to be in there.
That's a good call.
So I think it's going to be a really, really close game. The part that kills me is Kyler Murray against Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
That could be like 40-point game, and I'm going to have God knows what in that quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So can I make that differential up? I don't know.
That's hard.
I'll never bet against myself, so I'm going to say somehow find a way to win. But I think that's the one. I got it. Murray's got to be under 30 points for, in my opinion, to have a shot.
Yeah, I think that is the turning point here because I can even you up and down this lineup. Especially that you have the 2 best tight ends in the game. It's going to be Zeke and your whoever replacement for Dobbins. I mean that's going to cancel out. But Murray versus maybe Lawrence. Maybe somebody else. That could be the mismatch. Ty, how do you see this game going?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the quarterbacks, and unfortunately, Call of Duty doesn't come out for a couple more weeks, so Kyler Murray's going to be on his A game, not having to worry about going to that. So I mean, I don't know. This is a tough one. I like your receiver matchups better. Zeke, somehow he gets over 20 carries a game, but yet gets 2 yards per carry. So I don't know. I don't love Zeke in the lineup. So it's a pretty big differential points wise, but I don't know. I honestly might like Born to Run's chances in this one as long as Kyler Murray stays under wraps.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. We'll see. We'll see how these lineups move around. Ty, let's talk about your game. You are facing the 4-1 Boston Beans, who seem to put up 140 plus points every week. How do you see your game going this week?
Yeah, I mean, I see this as a pretty, good chance to get back to 3-3 here. I mean, we're going to go in there, we're going to stomp all over the Beans, and that's going to be the end of it. It's nothing's good's going to come out of this. I mean, Najee Harris, he stinks now. Micah Parsons over Jalen Hurts. He's going to put him in a body bag halfway through that game, so nothing to worry about there. Waddle, he's got no one throwing to him. And mild soreness in the lineup as well. He's got 2 Philadelphia Eagles going. I mean, that's rough.
I would agree with that in years past, and I don't want to say anything nice about the Philadelphia Eagles ever in my life. But boy, that team looks pretty damn good. And Miles Sanders.
Have you seen the Cowboys defense? How many times did they put Daniel Jones on the ground?
Well, that wasn't difficult. I mean, let's face it. DeMarcus was facing a rookie.
Good point.
I mean, this is gonna be an interesting situation. Miles Sanders. Yeah, he put up 7 points last week, but he was coming off a 30-point performance. Jalen Hurts is playing lights out. So I don't know. That's a tough hill to climb. Walt, do you see a path for victory? Worst team ever. This would right now it's Prodigy to go worst team ever's way, but I think that we would call it an upset if worst team ever won.
Yeah, and I'm putting the Beans on upset alert. The schedule for them is horrible. Tampa's good D, Najee projecting 12. I don't know where the hell they came up with that projection. Yeah. I mean, it might be the 1 and 2 added together. It might be the projection.
Yep.
Cleveland, I think Chubb's going to struggle against New England's
defense.
Tough.
Yes.
And they know Jacoby Brissett. So add that to it.
Yep.
I agree. Hurts against Dallas. I don't think anyone's shutting Hurts down anymore, but I don't see a 30-point day. Sanders will do nothing against the Cowboys. Waddle, third-string quarterback. I mean, what's he going to really do? Judy against the Charger. Okay, but I don't like it. I think he's got some horrible matchups. If Taylor plays against Jacksonville, you got Barkley against Baltimore. Looking good there. CD, I think, will be good. So, yeah, I think this could be the upset. So I'm going to go worst team ever.
All right. I think this has the potential to be a good game if Jonathan Taylor plays like Jonathan Taylor. Because Jonathan Taylor, in prior weeks this season, has looked like a candidate for bomb screen or punt.
I was just going to say that. He was almost on the punt list.
He's getting there. So, we'll look at this matchup with interest this week. That's another good game. Let's talk about Whopper Moppers versus Huey Lewis in the news. Right now, I think that there's some holes in the lineup, so the projections are all screwy. But Huey Lewis is coming on. Whopper Moppers had a strong start to the season, and they still look good. But Huey Lewis is starting to come on. Their players are starting to hit their stride when you want them to. Walt, how do you see this game going?
I see who the hell's playing quarterback for the Whopper Moppers. And I know from what
there's not a lot out there. Yeah.
So at least I get someone who can start. Right now, he doesn't even have a guy to plug in.
Right.
So it's hard for me. This one's an easy one. It's hard for me to give any advantage to a team that right now, God knows what he's going to pick for a quarterback. So, yeah, Connor's out.
Mostert looks great, but he's
Mostert does look great.
Like, are they gonna feed him the ball? Because it looks like they should, but I don't know if they will.
I agree, and I don't like it. I think the Moppers are in trouble. The Rifle's rising, so I'm giving the Rifle.
Ty?
Do we have a blowout of the week? Because I think this
blowout
game.
Of the week.
I think
Huey Lewis blowing
this game,
out Whopper Moppers.
Yeah, Tom's like. It's tough. He's got a couple bye weeks going on, and some injuries here, so it's tough. It's one of those where like, hey, face tough bye week. It happens. Take the loss and just move on.
Yeah, because
it is what it is. One loss ain't gonna make or break his season here.
Right.
And Brady's gonna pad his stats against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I guarantee slow start. He's gonna want to slam like 4 or 5 touchdowns. So, no quarterback to Brady. Talk about a differential.
And Fournette.
Fournette good, exactly.
Great. So I see that as too much of an advantage for Huey Lewis right now. So we'll see. Whopper Moppers, good luck. Let's look at what we'll call, like you were going to call the blowout of the week. That was nice of you. But let's go to what will likely be the blowout of the week. No lineup needed is heading into what is sure to be their highest scoring point week of the season. They pull in against Knuckleheads. The projections are screwy right now, so we're not even going to bother with this projected Knuckleheads win. Austin Eckler went insane last week. Mahomes is looking great. Tyreek Hill will probably go 40 points this week. He'll find someone to plug in for his D. I just don't see where no lineup needed has anything to worry about. Walt, what do you think?
Well, yeah. It's kind of hard to argue with. Yeah, I do think
Christian Kirk's going to score 75 points. It's whatever defense he plugs in will get 26. Doesn't matter.
The one I think variable is, what's Lamar Jackson going to do against the Giants? Yeah. I think more from not passing, but are we going to see like a 150-yard rushing day from Lamar Jackson?
Maybe. I think they'll probably spy him, but it's not going to matter because he'll score 46 points.
Yep.
I'll put up, I don't know, let's say I put up 150 points this week because Lamar Jackson goes crazy. Christian's going to score 319 points.
Yeah, and I would say, wow, and I know the playoff game of Mahomes against Buffalo was just a shootout, but you would think, okay, Buffalo, it's going to be a tough game of Mahomes. it'll probably, knowing your luck the way it's going, it'll probably be a shootout again when you think of a lower scoring game. But like you said, it's Marquise Brown against Seattle. Marquise Brown's averaging like double-digit targets every single game. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's one of those reuniting the college quarterback with his receiver. It's been working for so many teams.
For sure.
Yep.
So, I want to say, I want to give the vote to the Knuckleheads, but it's really hard to do that.
That's pity. I can't see like live. We don't have the live, but I think it probably looks like pity.
Yeah.
Christian's weighing in also with some pity. I think this will be a shootout. You're so gracious.
I think we're being a little harsh though. Tyreek Hill, he's got a third-string quarterback throwing to him.
He's going to score 70 points.
Patrick Mahomes against Buffalo, not a great matchup. And then Eckler against Denver actually has a decent run D. I don't think you're going to see Eckler with 30 points. And I mean, Cooper Kupp against Carolina, he could have 60 points right there. Carolina's pass defense looks terrible.
Or he'll score 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and then they'll just run the ball. Cam Akers will score 50 points on the bench.
Put him in the lineup.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I might as well. Yeah. So, Christian, let's see.
But Hill, just to go with that, a third-string guy played all last week, and Tyreek Hill still had 12 points.
12 points, right. I'll take 12 points against Tyreek Hill against me all day long.
I still think it's an uphill climb for the Knucklehead.
I'm going to go on record right now because this not that risky. Christian will have his highest point total of the season. And it may be a squeaker. Let's say it's a squeaker. Oh, good for me. He will score the highest points of the season,
right? Yeah.
And he's gonna beat me.
Yep.
Looking forward to it. Let's look at the Springfield Rifle, our third place team at 3-2. They're scoring points in bunches, and they're taking on a team that is scrapping to try to get out of the cellar, Denver Soaring Eagles. Walt, Rifle over the Eagles. Is there upset potential here?
I'm not seeing it. I just don't. Cooper against New England, not a great matchup. When I see Michael Carter, and maybe the Eagles are going to change that lineup. But with Breece Hall, what's Michael Carter going to do?
Right.
You talk about Joe Lunchpail Mixon. He's great.
Mixon.
He'll get double digits, but like you said, we've not seen that explosive game out of him. And it's against New Orleans. Tough because it's in New Orleans. Herbert against Denver. Tough matchup again. Not Soaring Eagles, man. This could be 1-5, and
yeah.
And the question is, how many teams from 1-5 make BARFF playoffs?
Usually the stick is 7 wins, 6 wins, and so there's 9 weeks left in the regular season, right? So we're 5. There's 8 weeks left in the regular season. He's got to come up with 6 wins. I'm in the same.
6-2.
Yeah, 6-2 over the stretch. That's rough.
Yeah, that's rough.
His team has to play. Joe Mixon has to be the person that they expect him to be. Kyle Pitts, is there? There are some heartbreaking decisions in the draft, but is Kyle Pitts not one of the biggest disappointments in fantasy football?
He's got to be in our top 5 potential bust.
Yeah.
Is no doubt about it. Where he was drafted and everybody was so hyped on him. Absolutely.
Jordan is letting us know that Michael Carter was not a happy decision. And now we have some trade talk.
Wow, Antonio Gibson
no, it's A-Rob.
A-Rob.
For Swift and
now for Henderson. Countering.
Boy, you don't. I don't know that you want A-Rob on this roster.
Oh boy.
I think Amari Cooper and Terry McLaurin are better. But Ty, do you see a path for victory for the Soaring Eagles?
No, and I just hope Gort realizes that if he tanks in the regular season, it's not like the NFL. He doesn't get a better draft pick next season.
Yeah, so maybe we should remind him.
Yeah, I just want to put that out there for him.
He's looking to make moves. I can tell you, I'm sitting in the same spot that he is. This is week 6. I'm in spoiler mode. Spoiler mode, week 6. It's a very sad situation to be in. I'm rooting for Denver Soaring Eagles, but Springfield Rifle looks tough. And we talked about them last year. They had a slow start last year, and then mid-season, people were scared of the Rifle coming to town. And I think that we're setting up for the same scenario this year.
I told Tyler, I said, if I knew Garoppolo was going to be the quarterback, I would have brought Debo home early on
Right?
versus Jamar Chase where I
Yep.
picked him. It breaks my heart when and that was like the best thing that happened to the rifle.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden Debo is a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, he can. I attribute my winning the league to him.
Oh yeah, especially the way that he ended last year.
Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So maybe we got to get the Eagles out of altitude. Maybe that's what's causing the the mismanagement, the poor judgment. I don't know.
I mean, it's. Yeah, Sox fan is wondering if this is the earliest spoiler mode declaration ever. And it might be. It might be. I'm just a realist at this point. I'm trying. I don't want to whine on any more podcasts. From now on, the expectations have been set. I don't want to Kenyon Drake my way through the rest of the season. So we're looking at the potential. No matter what happens when teams are beating up on each other a little bit, Boston Beans has an opportunity this week to really cement themselves into good playoff position. If they pick up that fifth win, they're pretty much sitting pretty.
Yeah.
A lot of teams fighting it out, and then mathematically, there's things that can happen with these teams down at the bottom, but all you can do is do your best. It looks like Denver Soaring Eagles are going to be trying to swing something to turn their karma or to turn their luck around for this season. So I wish them the best.
Absolutely.
Again, every single player on my roster is available for trade. Anyone wants to offer me a trade, just go ahead. Everyone's on the table. I'll package Lamar Jackson and Cooper Kupp for the right
fire sale has begun.
Yeah. I will not feed a team though, so I have to keep the integrity of the league.
No question about it.
So so that is week 5. I can't believe we're 5 weeks in.
I know.
I end so many shows like this, I can't believe
it, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
That is the reality. And so, great night on the chat. Thanks for everyone that weighed in this week. Sox fan 7687 reinforces their support for the pant loads. We love to have the fans weigh in. Although he's making trade offers for the Sox. I think someone's tipping their hand.
How's that happening?
Might be a league investigation going on here.
We're letting the fans negotiate trades.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Well, he is a super fan. All right. So thanks to all. Christian Jordan, Sox fan 7687, and Ant weighed in on the chat tonight. It was good to have you guys back. Walt, you're in the chair where you belong.
No, it's awesome being back.
Ty, thanks for coming in again and offering some insight into this season. And we'll see whether we have more tears or any more beverages being cracked next week. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. And Sox fan 76, bring the lotion, buddy. We'll lube you up with on the back if you want.
Ouch.
And cue the outro.
I wonder if this is it. I tried to play outro last week and I played a sound effect. Let's see what. No, that's so good though. That's pretty good. I didn't mark the button, so we're not going to do the outro music. Thanks for everyone that was watching live. I hope you had a lot of fun, and we'll see you next week. Good luck to all.
All right. Good luck, everyone.